Are you doing the Wild Boar Great One grind here in Torn Machine with the feeder method that I explained in my last YouTube video, here in the Hunter Call of the Wild? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tricks and tips after spawning 2 Great Ones to better help you put that Great One in your lodge. In this video, we're going to talk about all of my best tricks and tips, so I'd strongly suggest that you guys do in fact stay until the end. And if you do end up enjoying today's video, please help me out by hitting the like button. Without further ado, guys, as always, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Outdoors. And wasting no more of your time, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So my very first tip for you for doing the Great One Wild Boar grind here in Torn Machine is going to be to set the time to 1800. Now I know in my guide I said to set the time to 1730, and while that does work, I've noticed that I can get my rotation done almost in exactly 1 in-game hour, and it doesn't really start to get dark until about 1900, 1930. And at 1800, we still have plenty of daylight, and they're there pretty much every single time that I reset the time, while sometimes they're not there at 1730, just because their feed time starts at 17, and you know, like this zone here, especially this one, if I was setting it to 1730, I would spook them almost every time because they'd be in these thickens here, just making their way into the zone, but no, they're there feeding every single time I reset, or at least 99% of it. Now, it's honestly even impressive that at 1800 they're here, which is still very early in their feed time. Like I said in my guide the other day, there were feeders with premium feed just chilling there. I think I'd be there right on time as well if I were hungry. So yeah, tip number 1 is definitely to set it to 1800. It's helped with consistency a ton. Okay guys, so coming in at number 4 here on our list of the top 5 tricks and tips for the Wild Boar grind here in Torn Machine is going to be to use the 300. Now you're probably wondering, Squid, why would you use the 300? If you've been grinding for a long time, this is probably no shocker to you, but in most of our grinds, mainly besides like the pheasant grind, I think, because obviously we're using the shotgun, most of us content creators do use the Arzina 300. Not even specifically just that one, sometimes I'll use the 375, sometimes I'll use the OG 300, and the reason for this is because it just drops anything you put in front of the sights instantly, and it makes it so that way you almost never have to track your boar. Even though that, yes, the 30-06, for example, does a great job, it can drop them, you need to get a double lung almost every single time to do it. Or spine almost every single time to do it. The 300, no matter where you touch them at, I mean, look at that penetration. In the lung, through the liver, through the stomach, out the other side. It doesn't get much better than that. Now, you do just want to be careful if you are hunting the boars in the dark, if you're doing it either super early in the morning or super late in their feed time, because obviously when using the 300, you're not going to get trophy integrity. And what that means is, for example, if a rare spawns and you shoot it with a 300, specifically for the boar at least, you're not going to get full trophy score. So if it were to be a gold, it would be a silver. Same thing with a diamond. If you spawn a level 5 and you shoot it with a 300, and it were to score diamond, it would score gold, because the 300 only covers classes 7 to 9, and well, as you can see, Wild Boar are class 5. And if you're grinding in the dark, it is very easy to miss rare Wild Boar. Even in this kind of dim lighting, which is not horrible, it's still easy to miss them. But as you can see, the 300 almost makes sure they never run. If they do run, it's usually like 100 meters at most, and it's just Squid's bad aim. Now, I always do carry the 30-06 on me as well, or just a 4-8 rifle of choice, or to not be as complicated, just an ethical rifle of choice. And the reason for that is, if I ever do see a boar that looks off, even slightly, if it's broadside to me and I know I can get it, you might as well just shoot it with the proper weapon, especially the /06. This is a big gun, it does a really good job. It just doesn't do as good of a job as the 300, especially on those trot shots. You know, you shoot a boar, the whole herd spooks, and the odds of you not just dropping, but let alone getting a shot that'll actually kill a boar while it's on the run is much higher with the 300 versus an ethical gun. Any of the ethical guns. Simply just because of the fact that 300 is an absolute tank of a caliber. Alright guys, so coming in at tip number 3 here on our list today is going to be to carry the night vision and the normal gear. Now I always carry my night vision binos and I always have the angler night vision scope on me because some rotations just simply take longer than others. You're not going to drop every boar every single zone, it just doesn't work like that, although I wish it would. You're definitely going to have some tracking to do every once in a blue moon, and you might shoot one in the foot on accident. Thankfully for most of these, they're like zones like this where it's just, you know, shoot them both, they drop instantly most of the time, but sometimes you really do have to track for a hot minute with these things. But the 300 does a really good job. That was hilarious. So it's very, very easy to make it into that 1900, 1930 range where the sun goes fully down. And it's just very, very handy to have the night vision binos and the night vision scope on you mid-rotation, so you don't gotta worry about going back into your storage and messing with it and just taking up more time out of the rotation. Because over time, people don't realize it, but 5 minutes over 10 rotations is 50 minutes. That's almost an hour of nothingness. Whether that be 5 minutes from running to your tent to your tripod, 5 minutes from reorganizing your inventory. It's just best to do it whilst customizing your loadout for the original time so you never have to worry about it again. Then what you do is you just click escape, go to your inventory, go to binos, drag out the night visions, or drag out the night vision scope. Much, much, much easier. There's the shot we got, by the way, on the one we rolled on the run. Then going back into the tent, going into the storage, putting it into your inventory, and just taking up a lot of time, because like I said, it definitely adds up over time. Alrighty folks, so coming in at tip number 2 here on our list today is going to be something that I've honestly kind of been struggling to do myself, and that is to shoot the 2 biggest males out of each zone. Now there's a very, very specific reason for this. Whether or not you're using herd management, shooting the 2 biggest out of each zone, even if your biggest is a level 2, if there's 3 level 2s at the zone, shoot the level 2 with the best estimate. Because shooting the 2 biggest out of each zone is going to maximize your chances of getting big rare respawns. So when a rare does spawn, the chances of it spawning as a higher level is increased simply just by shooting the 2 biggest males out of each zone. This is something that I did with my wolf grind without using any herd management, and I managed to spawn a super rare acromelanistic gray wolf, along with 3 other great ones. I actually haven't even shot a single rare boar yet. I'm still waiting for one to spawn. But I do have an initial spawn of female black gold on my map, so that could definitely, be preventing something. But also, there's probably an initial spawn rare male on my map somewhere too, because I didn't find all of my need zones. If you haven't watched my Wild Boar Great One guide for this specific method, I would strongly suggest checking it out, even before watching the rest of this video. Now, shooting the 2 biggest doesn't mean leave the small ones. If you go to a zone and there's only small ones, obviously you're gonna need to shoot the small ones out of it to get big respawns. This is not a herd management tip. If you're herd managing, you should be shooting big males consistently no matter what. But for those of you guys that aren't herd managing, such as myself, which is totally okay. I mean, I already got 2 great ones down without it. Clearly, it doesn't affect the spawn rate of great ones, but people get mad when I say that, so whatever, bro. At this point, I don't know if it does or not. 3 threes to shoot there. Let's go. Ooh, see, that one looks weird. I think it's just a dark brown, but I'm going to shoot it with the @6, just in case. His chest is light, his body's dark. See, even the @6 doesn't do that bad of a job. But yeah, shooting the 2 biggest will definitely help you spawn bigger rares, which is obviously what you want, because when you do spawn a rare, if you can help it, you want it to score gold. Why? Because that's just awesome. Alrighty folks, and coming in at tip number 1 here today, my number 1 best tip for the wild hog grind is going to be to refill your feeders all at once every other rotation. So what this means is instead of refilling your feeders one at a time as they all run out of feed individually, which gets very, very annoying over time, I'd recommend you to do this, which will save you money over time. Fill all of your feeders at once. I'm going to start doing that right now because it's been a minute since I've done mine. Make sure you're using the sour fermented mash with the barrel feeders. Just go through and refill each individual one. Then from this point, you can do a rotation, and then you can do another rotation, and then at the end of that rotation, so the second rotation, that's when I would recommend you that you guys go through and refill all of them. You can even do it at the beginning of the second rotation if you want to save even more money, because some feeders that are like 80% full only cost 60 bucks to refill. That's much, much, much better than paying the 400 up front. Honestly, I think it's like 500 up front when the feeder gets completely empty. See, this one's halfway gone and it's only 170 bucks. So yeah, not that I need to save money, but I know money is an issue for a lot of people in this game, so I do what I can to help those people specifically. But hey, if you guys did in fact enjoy this video, please let me know down below by hitting the like button, as it is very, very much appreciated. I do work very, very hard on these videos as a 16-year-old content creator who does online schoolwork. It is a challenge for me to do school and YouTube, but we're pulling it off and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So as always, thank you guys all so much for watching to this point in the video. My name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Outdoors, and we'll see you guys in the next banger. Peace out, my gamers.